All right, hello and welcome to another Expert Inside interview. My name is John Golden from Sales Pop, online sales magazine and Pipeliner CRM, joining you as usual from a sunny San Diego. And today I'm delighted to be joined from the other side of the country in Florida by Diana Fritz, who is in Ormond Beach, Florida, near Daytona. How you doing, Diana?
I'm great. Great to be on the show today with you, John. How are you?
I'm fantastic, and it's a pleasure to have you. And Diana is a dynamic executive leader, cancer thriver, not survivor, thriver, right?
That's
Yeah.
right.
And passionate advocate for authenticity, resilience, and positive impact. Over 25 years experience spanning executive leadership, operations, human resource business planning, and technology. You've built a reputation for fostering teamwork, driving organizational health, and leading with influence. A member of the Maxwell Leadership Executive Program, a corporate facilitator, and a certified DISC consultant. Your mission is to create a meaningful impact and ensure every person you encounter feels valued. And that's what we're going to talk about today is embracing imperfection, how life's challenges shape our greatest strengths. And getting straight into it, Diana, I mean, I feel like, we live in such a strange culture today, in such a strange world where we got this idea of perfection is always kind of being pushed on or being slightly not able to achieve, being always slightly short of achieving that. And it keeps people in a constant, I think, mindset of kind of feeling inadequate.
Yes. No, I noticed that across all different areas of life in terms of I have two teen boys. Notice that in the professional space as well as just
Mhm.
among, friends and family.
Yeah. So how can we start to look at things and frame things differently? Because it is true. It's like it's like the greatest the greatest part of humanness, isn't it? Isn't it that perfect imperfection that everybody has, that nobody is, everybody has these imperfections in quotations, if you like, but just things that make them a little bit unique, things that are slightly off, things that are different, that just bring a completely different perspective. So how do you help people start to reframe the way they looking at or perceiving things?
I think a part of it ties to just the experience I went through personally 2 years
Mhm.
ago, where I've had an 11-year cancer journey with a diagnosis near my eye. But then 2 years ago, we needed to remove the cancer as well as the eye.
Mhm.
And so, thus, I have a unique appearance. And that leads to multiple opportunities for people to ask questions, to understand, like, how am I still smiling? Why don't I try to hide it? And all those things, and that comes across all different audiences. So I've had the opportunity to speak in middle schools and to talk with them about my profession and what I do. I know at the beginning I need to give them an opportunity to ask questions because they're
Mhm.
looking at me and going, okay, what happened to her? She looks unique. And a question from a middle schooler is, do you get made fun of? I don't even
Right.
think about that, right?
Right,
But you
right.
relate to that, to their space and where they're at in life. And and just we all have things about us that are unique and unique to us, right? That's how we're
Mhm.
made. We're not all the same. And it's very empowering for people to appreciate the things that make them unique and use that as a way to connect with others and to help others to see their uniqueness is can be their superpower, right?
Right. No,
Their way to connect and influence.
absolutely, because we've heard a lot of talk about authenticity, especially over the last few years, and it was 2 years ago was word of the year in Merriam-Webster or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, but and it just seems like people have gotten very hung up on this idea of authenticity, and they've made it maybe more complicated than it needs to be, or the concept of, you've even got people who are saying, like, I can help you, I can train you to be more authentic, which sounds about as inauthentic as you can get, but hey, who am I to judge? uh and But I think for authenticity, it is about embracing yourself in your totality, isn't it? And allowing that and saying, yeah, I may have, I may look different, I may sound different, I may have these quirks or whatever it is, but that's who makes me who I actually am.
Mhm. Absolutely, and I think, it's helped me to reflect on that, but also see me being okay with my
Mhm,
appearance and not trying to hide it and be open to talk about it and to just be transparent about the journey and what it's like,
mhm,
what it's been like, has helped others to pause and reflect and go, okay, if she's okay with that,
mhm,
right? And she can keep smiling and keep moving forward, I can too. And it's okay, right? It's okay
mhm.
to embrace who you are, and to be that unique person you are and bring that to the world.
Yeah, and again, like we said, it's so hard today. Is that bringing your authentic self, especially when we live in a world where nothing seems to be as it is, right? I mean, everything is photoshopped, everything is, framed or staged, or now we even have now when you even listen to something with voice cloning, you have to be sure you're not listening to a parody of something as opposed to listening to the actual person. So it's all getting very very confusing in that way. So it feels like it's almost embracing authenticity and wanting to be your real self. You're almost kind of swimming against the tide, but kind of in a good way.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I was as you were talking about technology and that type of thing, my mind went to, many people will use AI, right, to improve their look or their picture and how they post
Hmm.
things. AI doesn't know what to do with my look, right?
Right, right.
Doesn't quite know what to do with that one eye look and what that is. But I laugh at that because I would rather just be me. And sometimes it's that solid reminder when you go places that you are easily recognized.
Hmm.
So you have a choice to take advantage of that and smile and use it as a way to connect, or you can choose to be bitter about it,
Hmm.
right? It's much easier to
Hmm.
be you when you're good with it, right? And you appreciate the dynamics and you're just thankful to be there.
Hmm. So what was that? Why did you make that choice to say, like, I'm just going to be who I am. I'm going to be me. I'm going to look the way I do. I'm. What was that decision? Was that an easy decision for you, or is that something you had to kind of debate with yourself?
Um, Uh, Nothing on the journey I would say is easy,
Yeah.
but it's the dynamic of when you're going through any type of change or transition in life, when you're confronted with the call, "Diana, we've been fighting to save your eye. We need to shift to save your life."
Hmm.
The perspective of losing your eye is not so bad, right? I would
Right.
much rather lose an eye than lose a life.
Right.
And so then that's helping you to mentally prepare. And then, as you wake up from surgery and an intense surgery, I look tremendously better than what I did 2 years ago. I will promise you that.
Mhm.
Um, but the dynamic of just being okay with who I am, I'm thankful to be here,
Right.
first, right? And so you've navigated through that, and then I also understand, there's nothing really that hides this either, right? It is a skin flap that an eye patch isn't gonna hide.
Mhm.
So I have just determined that is just uniquely who I am, and
Right.
I'm gonna smile through that and use that as a way to connect with people. It's been interesting the number of people with, different disabilities, whether children or adults, that will come and talk to me and say, "You inspired me. I
Right.
was thinking because I have this disability, I couldn't impact others or I couldn't move forward. And you've shown me that I can." And I
Mhm.
love that because that makes it worthwhile.
Yeah, and like what you just said there, right, being really profound about how shifting perspectives, right? With the choice between your eye or your life, whatever makes it, and I think I think people often get caught in their perspectives and the difficulty of shifting that perspective. And when they shift it, even to shift it to gratitude, if you like,
Yeah.
suddenly things change, the other things change, or how you look at or perceive the other things change. And sometimes we cling to the perspectives we're comfortable with.
Yeah. That is very true. Or cling to the known,
Right.
cling to the dynamics around you. I can remember my neurosurgeon. I had 4 different surgeons that operated on me. The neurosurgeon looked at me and he's like, "Diana, this is going to be a knock your socks off moment."
Mhm.
And my response was, "Well, tell me more what that means." "Well, you might not want to go out of your house for months." And I still didn't quite understand what that meant until I woke up from surgery, but I was determined I was not going to stay in my house for months because I enjoy interacting with people and
Mhm.
connecting with people. So I was determined I was going to leave out of my house. I was alive, and
Mhm.
I was going to seize those opportunities to be out and to be with the people and the restaurants and the places that my family normally frequented.
Yeah, because I mean, I guess it's part of the way we're wired or the culture we live in. We tend to focus on what we don't have as opposed to refocusing on what we do have, and I guess that's another way, that you obviously inspire people or whatever to focus on, focus on the good things and the stuff that you have and whatever, instead of always like focusing on either what you don't have or what you don't have anymore.
Yeah. No, and if I can, correlate to when I was much younger, I
Hmm.
went to college and I went to college early because I wanted to play basketball, and I tore my ACL 2 years in a row. So I didn't play basketball, but I was reading Viktor Frankl's *A Man's Search for Meaning*, which is a powerful
Hmm.
book around
Yeah.
mindset and perspective, and his quote around, no matter what happens to you, nobody can steal your freedom to choose how you respond,
Hmm.
was powerful for me at those early ages in life. And I've carried that forward to me to this dynamic with one eye or other things that don't go as expected. Um, I still get to choose how I respond. And I, that's a power that we all have, and I think we forget it sometimes that we still get to choose how we're going to respond.
Yeah, no, I do. I think you're absolutely correct. I do think we forget sometimes that we don't have control over many things, and we have to let them go. But there's a few things we have absolute control over, and it's how we choose to react, how we choose to show up. Those are things that we have absolute control over. And just the book that Diana referenced, Viktor Frankl, the that was he was in one of the concentration camps, and he chose how he was going, what his attitude was going to be, how he was going to react to the situation, and that was the one thing that his captors couldn't control.
Yes,
Yeah, so I think it's a great message, Diana, that you have, is like, uh, that it doesn't have to always be something, as life changing or whatever. Like, you can still make these shifts today.
absolutely. I One thing that along with that same mindset shift, is many times where I have to do this, I have to do that,
Mhm.
and change the word. I get to.
Right,
And, that's something I work to reinforce with my kids and I work to do myself, right? I don't have to work out this morning. I get to, right?
right.
I'm here. I get to.
Mhm.
Um, but it totally changes our mindset and our perspective, right? Our words
Mhm.
really impact how we perceive ourselves as well as how others
Yeah.
perceive us.
And a good point. I'm glad you raised that, because it doesn't come up enough. Is that, words are, it's not just how you approach things, how you think about things, but the words you use, the way you describe things are really important. Like you said, like, uh, I gotta go. I have to work out, or I get to work out. Very different. It's like nobody's putting a gun to your head, buddy. So either you want to, or either you embrace it, or you don't. But I think that's important because I feel like we're again sometimes we ignore the power of words, and especially now the way the words are even with abbreviations and emojis and stuff. I feel like we're even losing even losing the ability to put words together. But how you articulate things and the words you speak and stuff, they're very important. And obviously, like when you go through something like that's very important in a recovery.
Absolutely. And you watch the opportunities as you're going through recovery. You meet so many people on a cancer thriver journey, whether
Mhm.
it's nurses, doctors, the patients beside you, going through a similar treatment, or the radiation techs. You're meeting and interacting with so many people that sometimes we forget, as a patient, we still have a great opportunity to bring positive, to bring the right words to the medical staff.
Mhm.
Sometimes they need us, right, to help them realize the power of what they're doing, or the reminder of the impact that they make. And
Mhm.
the opportunities are everywhere to impact others with our words, as well as helping others to see like the hope that's there.
Yeah, and I love what you just said there, because I think there's another phenomenal reminder is that sometimes we're so consumed with our own journey, and it depends, I'm rightly or wrongly, but we're so consumed in it that we forget that we have the opportunity to impact others along that journey, even if it is, as you said, even if it is just a moment here or a moment there, to acknowledge somebody else or to acknowledge what they're doing. I think that's so important. But yeah, it's something that we have to be intentional, I think, about, because we get so consumed in our own stuff.
Yes, it is absolutely easy to do, and sometimes it's just those simple things, the smile, the
Mhm.
how we phrase our words, how we pause to notice somebody, that can make the hugest difference, and tied to our opportunity to leverage what's unique about us.
Yeah, yeah, no, and again, it's so simple. Simple doesn't always equate to easy, but there's those simple things that you can do at any time. Um, and what is that? And what do you think, Diane, out of everyone? What do you think is the greatest gift or strength that this experience of yours has given you?
I think it has given me the opportunity to influence people that otherwise I wouldn't have the opportunity to connect with.
Mhm.
John Maxwell often will teach on the concept of get yourself out of the people pile. And I kind of smile and somewhat laugh inside whenever I hear that. My look has certainly given me an opportunity to go out of the people pile. Nobody quite looks like me. And then it's a matter of what you do with it, right?
Mhm.
I could be better, or I can be, happy that I'm here,
Mhm.
and use that as a way to just connect with others. And it's given me opportunities to speak with hospital staff and nurses and other patients, or to be asked to share at schools, or um, within different medical scenarios. It's just opened a lot of doors for me to get to impact and communicate with people that otherwise I wouldn't have the opportunity to do.
Yeah, no, and it's fantastic and such an inspiring work, and it's a great reminder for, because people have are so afraid often, as you said, to put their authentic self out there, and being able to look at somebody like you, the inspirations, think of all the stuff that you went through, and you still want to be out there in front. I mean, that's very, very, very inspiring. If there was one piece of advice you could give everybody, or you would give everybody right now, we live in this confused world. There's a lot going on. People are kind of Some people seem to be gone between being numb or to be losing their mind and everywhere in
Yeah.
between. But what was one piece of advice you would just give to people that maybe help them navigate through life a little more calmly?
I would say that reminder that it's not about me. And when I look at the opportunities of how I can help somebody else, whether it's serving or just going to offer to help a friend, a coworker, it that creates such a shift in your mind and your framework. And so don't miss those small opportunities to get lost in yourself and get stuck. Instead, look outward and see who you can help. And that will just shift your mindset and your trajectory for the day. It's been powerful for me over and over again.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. Yeah, like push outside yourself, and maybe to all these people who seem to have gotten caught up in recreational anger, please give it up. Come on.
Greater things to do.
Greater things to do. All right, listen, thanks, Diana. All of Diana's information will be below this video. But before we go, Diana, remind people about what you do.
I am honored to be a consultant, a coach, a speaker, and a facilitator around topics like adversity, leadership, and communication blind spots that go along with my literal blind spot. And I'm also an author, so that is another element of what I do.
Excellent. Well, listen, thanks again, Diana. Thank you for watching and listening, and I'll see you all again very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, John.